Hello and welcome to this After Effects certification preparation series of videos. I'm Luisa Winters. In this video, I would like to continue with Objective 4.7a. Remember, this was about keyframing transform properties. And in the previous video, we keyframed some of the transform properties, and we also saw that position keyframes and masks or paths are very interchangeable. So we talked about temporal and spatial interpolation. We covered spatial. Let's talk about temporal now. Temporal interpolation has to do with not where things are, but when things occur. So in reality, you could tell me, but Luisa, come on. If it's moving in space, in other words, if it contains spatial interpolation, it's doing so in time. So you're absolutely right. Every single spatial interpolation also contains temporal, but not all temporal contains spatial. For example, I could keyframe opacity, and it's changing, but it ain't moving. So there is a clear distinction between spatial interpolation and temporal interpolation. Now, we already covered spatial. Let's go to temporal. In After Effects, I still have the same project and composition open. So let's go ahead and do this. Create a new composition, Control or Command N, call it Temporal, and create a shape layer. The color doesn't matter. And let's keyframe the position. Here at the beginning is fine, so that it goes from left to right. Linear interpolation in spatial, but also linear in temporal, because this is going from point A to point B, and it's not accelerating, it's not decelerating, it's always maintaining the same speed. It starts and then stops. It doesn't have to. When something accelerates out of a keyframe, that's called an ease out. When something decelerates into a keyframe, that's called an ease in. And if you want to have both ease out and ease in, that's known as easy ease. And this is how it's done. You can select both of the keyframes, and then you can go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. Notice the shortcut, F9, F9. As soon as I click there or press F9, you're going to see that the keyframes change shape. All right, they change shape. They're no longer diamonds. Now they look like hourglasses. This is your visual indication that you are playing with time. If we play this, you're going to notice a very gradual acceleration and a very gradual deceleration. And you could say, but Luisa, come on now. You can make this go faster simply by putting the keyframes closer together. Yeah, but we're not talking about faster or slower. We're talking about the overall accelerating and decelerating for a more fluid motion. And I want you to notice the little dots that make up the path. Do you see how they are closer together near the keyframes and then farther apart at the middle? Even if I separate these, you can absolutely see them. You can see them closer together. So closer together means slower speed. Farther apart means faster speed. And we can actually see a graphical representation of this if we look at the graph editor. And to go to the graph editor, we click on this icon here. I know, pretty cool. X and Y. The Y doesn't change, so it remains static. And the X is changing, is going from left to right, and it's not linear. Notice that this is making a little S curve, denotating the acceleration and the deceleration. This is a value graph. And we can play around with a value graph, but not now. Right now, I'm more interested in a speed graph. To change to the speed graph, click on this icon here. See the eyeball? It's the one next to it. And then choose Edit Speed Graph. Boom. This is the speed graph. This is a speed line because this is position is measuring in pixels per second, and the higher the line is, the faster the speed. Right? Look at this. As I adjust this, the little path here changes, and this is a very different animation than what I had before. It's still starting and ending at the same time. But what's happening in the middle is changing, and I can change it even more. For example, I can click on this handle and move it up, 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 and now I can do this. And let me tell you, this is going to start slow as molasses and then whoosh, go fairly quick. Making sense? I can change these however I want. I can go fast, slow, fast. I can go slow, fast, slow. It doesn't really matter. And it is the graph that is giving me the visual indication of what's going to happen here. Again, when the animation starts and when it ends hasn't changed. All that it changes what happens in the middle. So you can use that with different properties as well. For example, if I create, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to grab this rectangle. If I create this rectangle, right? And there it is. And now I'm going to rotate it, right? So R for rotation. I'm going to start here at the beginning. And I'm going to go all the way at the end. And I'm going to make it go, I don't know, 30 times, whatever. Notice that the speed is not changing. Look at the value graph. It's going very linearly from the one value, which is 0 rotations, to the other value, which is rotate, whatever, 30 times, right? There you go, 30 times. And everything is very linear, very, very linear, starts at the same speed, etc., etc. If I want to select all of the keyframes of that property, and I get it, we only have 2, but if I want to select all of them, I click on the name of the property. In this case, I'm going to click on the word rotation. So animation, keyframe assistant, easy ease, there it is. Now I'm going to get a little bit of an acceleration and then a deceleration at the end. The values haven't changed. But they could. So if I actually go into the value graph, right? Oh, this is the value graph. I can actually click and move this up, and I can now play around with these handles to make my propeller anything I want. I'm going to add a little bit of motion blur by clicking on this switch here, and look at it now. It starts backwards, forward, and now it starts going faster and faster and faster and faster. And because of the motion blur, it looks like yay. If that's too much, it's okay. This is a value graph. Lower that. I'm going to put it around here. And I'm going to bring that handle up a little bit. And there you go. So that it doesn't go up as much or backwards as much. And then it starts going and going and going. And there you go. And I can have my acceleration any way I want it. So you are in charge on how things move in your animation. You are in charge of this. All right? Don't forget, the graph editor is clicking here. If you don't see anything in the graph editor, click on the name of the property that you're trying to see. In this case, the word rotation, and then you will see it. There are more things that I can do with a graph editor. For example, I am going to create a bar again, like yay, and I'm going to move that anchor point here to the left. All right, I'm just going to move this here to the middle. And just for now, I'm going to close the graph editor by just clicking on the icon. And now I'm going to press R for rotation. All right, so I'm going to start it here at the bottom. And then at 1 second, I'm just going to go up here. And now I'm going to copy those keyframes. So Control C, and now Control V, Control V, Control V. I can select all of them again, and I can paste. So copy and paste. And now I got a gazillion of them, right? If I see my graph editor, and this is the value graph, I can modify things in here. So if I click on the word rotation again, you're going to see now a bounding box. I can make the whole animation faster. Look at this. I'm going to make the motion blur. I can make it slower. I can make it just go less and less and less. If I press and hold Control, which is Command on the Mac, see how everything is still rotating, but less? I'm going to undo that. If I press Alt Option on the Mac, look at that. I can now change one of the bounding corners. See what I'm saying? And look at this. It's a lot, and it's going to go less and less and less and less each and every time. So I can, in a very graphical way, very graphical way, I can control my values. If I press Alt and Control, which are Command and Option on the Mac, I can do both sides at the same time. And now the rotation is going to start, and it's going to be on both sides less and less and less until it finally stops. I can even select all of them, and I can go Animation, Keyframe Interpolation, Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, and now you're going to get a little bit more of a bouncy look through to this. All right? So the graph editor lets you, in a very graphical way, control not just the speed, but the value of your elements, All right, about the last thing that I want to go over is how to save a preset. So we know how to use a preset. Hey, select it and then save and then apply it, right? Done. To save the preset, you need to select not just the layer, but the property that you want to save as a preset. So for that, press the letter U twice, UU, and this shows you everything that was changed from default. In my case, I only want rotation. There you go. Animation, save animation preset. There you go. Click on the word rotation. In fact, let me close the graph editor, because what you really want is for those keyframes to be selected. So click on the word rotation. That selects all of the keyframes. And now go to Animation, Save Animation Preset. And it's going to save them, see, on the Documents, Adobe, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call rotation that ends, whatever, right? Click on Save, and you got it. Now, I can delete that shape layer, and I can create a new one. I'm going to create this one. I'm going to move. In fact, you know what? I'm going to leave the anchor point where it is, and I'm going to apply that preset. So Effects and Preset, Animation Presets, User Preset, and now Rotation at Ends. Boom, add it. And there you go. It's less and less and less each and every time. So if you want to save other things, like you want to save also the stick, the color, and all of that, when you press UU, make sure that you select everything that you want to be part of the preset, and then save the preset. Animation, save animation preset. Of course, you see in here, also apply, recent, browse the presets, blah, blah, blah. So easy peasy. All right, I think this takes me to the end of this objective, the end of this movie. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next movie.